Skap Attack said some things in his video going after Isiah Thomas because he's upset that Isiah Thomas did not have Michael Jordan at number one or number two on his top 10 list. So you decided to come out to try to defame the greatest player to ever live, Isiah Thomas III. And you think that was not going to get on my radar? You are surely mistaken. If you think I wasn't going to speak on this. First off, Isiah Thomas III from Chicago, Illinois. All right, let that sink in. Shout out. Zeke is what he was called. Zeke was not your everyday average player. He was the best player coming out of high school. He was the best player in college. When he won the national championship, he was cutting down the net with an MVP. Michael Jordan just hit a winning shot. James Worthy was MVP. Mike just hit a game-winning shot because nobody was expecting this freshman to hit it. Isiah, in his second season as a sophomore, was MVP and national champion. He been great. He been great, homie. And here's the thing about what you don't seem to understand is that, one, you said his list is egregious. Isiah Thomas played this game at the highest level. But you can decide you want to denigrate his list. What makes your list good? You deliver your list. What makes your list better than Isiah's? You didn't play the game at all. So what makes your list more credible than Isiah's? Nobody dumped on your list. A list is someone's opinion. That is what you think. There's people that have LeBron James as number one of all time. In my eyes, he is not. He is not even in the top 10, top 100 of NBA basketball players. Isiah Thomas is the greatest player to ever play this game. But let's get to this, because it irks me so bad.
Allow me to serve as your Sherpa and walk you through the epic feud that still obviously has a lot of juice between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. And it all started back in the 1980s when the...
So now he wants to try to detail the beef between Isiah and Michael after being upset about a list. And Skap, it might as well be Stat Attack, because he comes with these statistics. And he comes with these different analogies about Michael Jordan. He averaged 35 points a game. He was the best player in the world.
1973, an absolute bananas season, which netted Jordan league MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. The establishment couldn't hold off GOAT Jordan from ascending to his throne any longer. But in that season's playoffs, Jordan would run up against none other than Isiah Thomas and his Bad Boys Pistons. And it would be the first meeting of 4 consecutive playoff series against each other, running from that 1988 postseason through the 1991 playoffs. And there was no doubt a lot of animosity between both parties here, with Jordan the undisputed best individual player at that time, while the Pistons would beat him in 3 straight postseason matchups beginning with that 1988 league year when Jordan was MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. Of course, the Pistons would devise a famed strategy to stop Michael Jordan, which would later be dubbed the Jordan Rules, which essentially entailed beating the ever-loving shit out of him anytime he got anywhere remotely close to the basket. A strategy that was built up to limit his scoring. And so they did.
Terrible analogies, people. Terrible, terrible, terrible storytelling. This man is telling a story and leaving out all key details in a story. Skap Attack, your fandom is gone way beyond. Let me fill in the blanks for you. Don't forget to mention Michael Jordan was the steals leader. He was the MVP of the All-Star game. He was the slam dunk champion. He was literally the best player in the game. And you said it yourself out of your mouth, his best season ever. As a player, statistically, he was unstoppable that year. And what you forgot to mention is that his ass went home in 5 games in the second round against the Detroit Pistons. Got his ass whipped by Isiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. And no, the Jordan Rules came in 89, didn't come in 88, and then didn't come in 87 when we swept him in 5 games. Every game we played him that season in 87, we beat him every game. Now, I don't even want to count 87 because Jordan was pretty much done for the whole season, but still, we had no problem beating the Chicago Bulls because we beat them in 87, 88, when we played them in the playoffs in 88 for the first time. Wiped the floor with them, no competition with us. They knew it. And Sam Vincent was the only second leading scorer who had 10 points. That's your problem. It's called defense. Beating the ever-loving shit out of somebody is not going to limit them from scoring. It would only bring them more points because they're going to go to the free throw line to shoot 2. So again, you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't watch the games. That is not the Jordan Rules, and the Jordan Rules is not meant to just beat up Michael Jordan. You've been watching too many documentaries and got yourself all glazed up on Michael Jordan juices and be like Mike and action figures and be like Kobe. You're a star boy. You're hooked on stars. And that's cool. Mike is in my top 5 all-time NBA basketball players. It's not that Michael Jordan can't play the game and he wasn't a great player. He had to evolve to that. In 88, when he had that season, when he was the number one in steals, defensive player of the year, MVP, he was not a complete basketball player yet. And that wasn't the best version of Michael Jordan, in my opinion. But statistically, if you're going by stats, that was his best year. Now, I would say 96 Jordan was more experienced and better off. Or even 93 Jordan. More experienced and well better off. But let's keep it here. What are the Jordan Rules? Well, the Jordan Rules are very simple. It's not just hitting people. You can't win championships by hitting people. You don't have 3 Hall of Fame players and a Hall of Fame coach just because you beat people up. That's not how it works. That's how a stupid person would review a game. because you're going off what they show you on a documentary. They don't show you the plays we ran, our strategy defensively, how we helped off the defense. They don't show you all of these things. Actual basketball. Do you realize that the Chicago Bulls is not the only team the Detroit Pistons play? We beat up everybody on the basketball court, beating them in basketball. Everybody played physical. They just focused on the Detroit Pistons because we were winning. Because we were good. Did you realize the Detroit Pistons had the #1 six-man? The six-man award is basically created because of Vinny the Microwave Johnson. He used to come off the bench. 3-guard rotation didn't really exist into the Detroit Pistons. The first little man to lead a team to a championship without a dominant center. Isiah Thomas. Come on. We are setting trends. We're breaking records. Largest viewed game. Detroit Pistons. Highest score game. Detroit Pistons. Look, I get what you're doing, Skap. I get it. I know what you're trying to do, and it's cool. But let me tell you something. You're out of your element talking about the bad boy Pistons and said their little so-called dynasty. So-called dynasty. So-called dynasty? Homie, let me tell you something. And I want to be very clear about this, homie. Because I want to be very, very, very to the point. Sharp as a nail. Who did Michael Jordan beat? Since you want to go there, let's go there. The world champion, Boston Celtics, their reign came to an end by the Detroit Pistons. The '86 Celtics were probably the best basketball team, one of the best in NBA history. We beat that team. We stopped that team. We shut them down. Magic and Kareem. We shut that down. Back-to-back world champions. Shut that down. Who did Michael beat? Oh, he played the Pistons in 1991 when the Pistons were injured. And that's the only reason you got a sweep on us. When we were healthy, we beat you guys by 24 points. Isiah had career-ending surgery. He basically played the next 2-3 years at about 50 to 60% because he injured his shooting wrist and missed half of the season in 1991. That's the only reason you won. A healthy Isiah and you done. But it wasn't Isiah. The whole team was broke up and they didn't make any excuses for it. They said, you won. And you come in here with this analogy that, and imagine how stupid this is. Isiah Thomas, a 12-year veteran, 12-time All-Star. He can't go to a Olympic because he didn't shake Michael Jordan's hand. You hear how stupid that sounds? That you would, well, he didn't shake Jordan's hand. It's about sportsmanship. Since when? Even through that season, people would lose game and walk right off the court. They didn't shake hands. Coaches shook hands. Coaches would go over and shake each other's hands. Players don't necessarily do that. And as you see now, they necessarily don't do that. LeBron would turn and go right back into the locker room and won't say anything to anybody. The Celtics, when they beat the Pistons, they walked off. Andrew Dantley was shooting free throws on the free throw line. The Celtics got up and walked off the court. Nobody said anything to the Celtics. Isiah stopped Kevin McHale as he was walking off, and Kevin McHale talked to him as he was walking off. Isiah went up to him because they were former roommates when they were trying out for the Olympic team, for the Pan Am Games, rather. They were roommates. So him and Kevin McHale already had a friendship and a bond from then. See, there you go. You're talking instead of listening. The person that was disrespectful was Michael Jordan. You know what Michael Jordan did? That's the reason as to why they didn't shake his hand. Before that game, Michael Jordan went to do an interview, and it came out in the Detroit paper right before Game 4. Once they go up 3-0, he wants to run his mouth and start pushing a narrative that his agent, David Falk, wanted him to put out, and the agenda of the NBA. They want to push this narrative, this is the end of dirty basketball. Because this was NBC and what they were trying to do with their agenda, and same thing that's happening now. Running a marketing propaganda scam. This is the end of dirty basketball, and this is the end when people are going to rejoice when we eliminate this team. They were not deserving champions. No champions, nobody who was getting ready to beat a championship team was ever saying anything like that. The Celtics never said anything like that about the Lakers, and they didn't like the Lakers. The Lakers never said anything like that about Boston, and they didn't like Boston. Nobody had ever said anybody was undeserving of winning a championship to anybody. And who gave Michael Jordan that right? He hadn't won anything. So who cares if anybody shook his hand or not? Who was he? He didn't won anything. So for him to make that observation and talk about the people of the city of Detroit, you don't know them. You don't know the players. You might not like the style of play they play, but okay. You can't make a decision based on that and just generalize the entire team in the city of Detroit. And they supposed to come shake your hand after you disrespect them? No. Who does that? So they should have walked off on Michael Jordan. They should have spit on him. Michael Jordan is a proven liar, as you saw on the Last Dance. He lied about the LeBradford Smith situation. He lied about everything he did. This man lied so much it was crazy. He lied and said George Karl ignored him at dinner at the restaurant. George Karl said, I don't remember seeing Michael Jordan at the Michael Jordan restaurant and ignoring him. He said, and he's like, if I'd have saw Michael, I would have shook his hand or acknowledged him. He said, I don't even remember seeing Michael Jordan. He said, I remember eating there, but he said, I don't remember seeing him. And I don't remember Michael ever saying anything to me at that restaurant. So he's like, I never even remembered it. And he said, me and Michael talked right before the game when he was warming up, had his jacket on. I'm in my suit. I'm standing there. He's like, he spoke to me at the table, at the thing. No problems. But Michael Jordan is great for telling lies for entertainment. He made up this lie about Gerald Wilkins being a Jordan stopper. Remember that? Gerald Wilkins, Dominique Wilkins' brother, has never called himself a Jordan stopper. The media set him up so that he could say, well, yeah, I always play good defense on him. because he's athletic. He stayed with Mike, and then they wrote in the paper Gerald Wilkins was the Jordan stopper, just to piss Michael Jordan off, so Jordan could go off on Gerald Wilkins and get himself pumped up. Gerald Wilkins never called himself a Jordan stopper. Then they tried to bring that title to John Starks and called John Starks the Jordan stopper. Then John Starks went up 2-zip on Mike, and then everybody shut up with that Jordan stopper crap. Now, I know it because I lived it. I live in Chicago. I've seen and know everything. I've watched every Michael Jordan game. There's nothing you can tell me that I don't know about this guy and this team. His house is down the street from where they won the championships from. Of course, they're stubborn as hell. You can't be this great and not be stubborn. Now, let me tell you about how the Pistons beat the Bulls. Not only do we have the personnel, the Chicago Bulls, they play a system that is revolving around Michael Jordan. There wasn't a lot of movement. We ran Tex Winters plays. We ran the double X a lot. Plus, we did a lot of split action plays and high pick and roll basketball before there was pick and roll basketball. You didn't have a dedicated center who could deal with Bill Laimbeer, who was a 3-time all-star, great center and a rebounder, who knows in a position to where to be. We were a disciplined team because Isiah was a leader. Jordan was an athlete and tried to lead by example, or just follow my lead of watching me score on almost every possession and try to come up with different shots. Michael Jordan in the 80s, who we call the Air Jordan era, he was a different type of player. He trusted his athleticism to do trick shots more than trusting his foundation of his jump shots, because he wasn't really a jump shooter. So keeping him out of the lanes and away from the rim was the best way to treat Michael Jordan. Whoever he had to defend, they would put the ball in their hands to make him work, run through screens, slow him down, make him have to really burn himself out so he doesn't have anything on offense. The Jordan rules knew, make Michael Jordan go to his left. He doesn't like dribbling with his left hand. He's only going to take 2-3 dribbles, and then he's going to pull the ball up. These are the same things Michael Jordan used to say about Clyde Drexler, and he used those same Jordan rule tactics when he played against Clyde Drexler. He wanted to implement the Jordan rules on Clyde Drexler. Make him go to his left hand. Clyde doesn't like to use his left. So we're going to make him use his left, force him to go left. All the stuff that y'all said, oh my God, Michael Jordan used those same tactics on Clyde Drexler in the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan has always said Clyde Drexler was the one that was like equal to him because they both finished at the rim. They were both slam dunkers, slashers, and Clyde could shoot the three. And they said, oh, well, Clyde couldn't shoot, and Clyde started hitting threes and start hitting mid-range jump shots. And they were like, wait, I thought this guy couldn't shoot. And Joe Dumars had to figure this out on the fly in the NBA Finals. And hey, what they said about Drexler isn't true. This guy actually can shoot. And I got to really get up on him. And he had his work cut out for him. Now, whoever is on Michael Jordan would give him different looks. So if Michael get comfortable with Joe Dumars, that when, he's waiting for the help where he could recognize the defense, they'll switch it up and put Dennis Rodman on him. Dennis is taller, and Dennis could actually move his feet. Got very quick feet. So Dennis could always stay with Michael. Michael couldn't get away from Dennis as well as he could like Joe or anybody else. Joe had a lower center of gravity to the ground, so Mike tried to put the ball down. He knows how to take away Mike's space to slow him up enough so that the help could get there. Sally and Rodman played like tag teams off the bench. Whoever was guarding, if Mike go for a shot, they would roll off, and Sally would at least block Michael's shot if he goes for jump shots. They knew how to rotate off of him because no one else on that team could beat them. They knew that the rest of the team mentally was not strong enough to beat them because they didn't believe in themselves because Michael Jordan didn't know how to instill confidence in the rest of the team. So the failure was on Michael Jordan for not being a leader. Stop using a cop out saying somebody got beat up and then that's how they lost. That's it makes you sound stupid. It makes it sound like you don't know anything about basketball. You just know stats and you're reading stats. Don't do that to yourself. Or if you don't know basketball, go watch the series. You don't get beat up and it stops you from scoring. No, it's defensive strategies. Forcing the ball out of Michael Jordan's hands. You trap him on the left side. Michael Jordan only dribbles with his left for about 2-3 dribbles and he picks the ball up. See, you guys don't really know these things. But when some people study film and coaches and players like Isiah, who's very smart, he's going to look for weaknesses in Michael Jordan's game. Isiah didn't have any. Michael had a lot. And he knew how to exploit them. So how could I rank Michael Jordan over Isiah Thomas? When the guy who beat him was Isiah Thomas. The only guy in the NBA that consistently beat him was Isiah Thomas. I mean, Larry did it when he was younger because Larry had a Hall of Fame team at that time. Isiah had been beating Michael for years before they had that team. And the thing is that Michael Jordan knows how great Isiah is. The rest of the world just seem to believe like it's just some bitter hate. But tell me, how is it hate? And he's crying and whining when the person that's crying and whining is Michael Jordan. He's the one that's crying and whining about, oh man, they hit us. Oh my God, it's physical. Oh my God, they didn't shake our hands. Who's crying about that? Isiah don't even talk about it. He don't talk about the Dream Team unless people bring it up to him. He doesn't talk about it. It's over and done. That was in 92. They're still crying about it. They brought it up. They called Isiah and said, please, can you do the last dance? Jordan called Isiah to be in the last dance, and he did it, and then he disrespected him on the last dance. So Isiah has to come out and say, okay, you don't want to apologize. I'm going to go out and tell people the truth. So he's not going on and, oh, he's bitter. He's mad about he's not mad about it. It's done, it's done. He's clearing his name. I'm not going to let you go ahead and lie on me on Netflix so the whole world could hear this lie and run around with it. He lied on Jerry Krause in his retirement speech, basically bashing Jerry Krause, the man that built the championship team, that put the players around him, put Scottie Pippen around him, put Horace Grant around him, put John Paxson around him, put Bill Cartwright around him. If Michael Jordan had his way, he wouldn't have nothing but his buddies around him, and they'll be losing every year. Yeah, because Michael Jordan can so judge talent. Look at Charlotte. Because how many years did he own Charlotte? Right. And how many great players he discovered? Exactly. Because you took his ability to play the game thinking he knows the game. Oh, he knows talent. Michael Jordan could spot talent a mile away. No, he could spot, maybe they got the potential to be something, but the players that Michael would choose turn out to be nothing. Michael Jordan chose Scott Williams. He wanted his buddy because Scott Williams was from North Carolina. They put Scott Williams on the team. He's a young kid. They drafted him. They gave him that guy. He wanted Rod Higgins. Why? Because Rod Higgins is one of his buddies. So he was like, man, I'll come back, and I wish I could go to Golden State. The Pistons beat Michael Jordan so bad, he threatened to retire from the NBA and after the 1990 NBA playoffs on CBS television. Michael Jordan used to come in and do an interview, contracted with CBS to go on the news when they come to the sports edition, to go on the news. And actually, they think he did that his first to 91, I believe. He had to deal with CBS. He would appear every night on CBS. And once they lost to the Pistons, he came out and said, I don't know how long I can keep doing this. If I can't get past the Pistons, I might as well retire. That's Michael Jordan, Skap Attack. Like I said, there's nothing you can tell me about Michael Jordan that I don't know. Nothing. He threatened to retire. Nathan Hampton, shame on you. If you're going to say this guy is a liar, tell me what am I lying about? State the lie. There is no lie. It's all facts. Yeah, and he won the championship the very next year, too. First year with NBC. NBC bought the NBA out. The Pistons won the championships the very last year under CBS. Exactly. I got Michael Jordan, 5th all-time greatest basketball player. He's number 5 on the list. Kobe is number 6. Number 1 is Isiah Thomas. Number 2 is Oscar Robertson. Number 3 is Larry Bird. Number 4 is Bill Russell. Number 7, I would say, is Magic, and then 8 would be Wilt, then Kareem, and 9. So, you're looking at a whole different situation. No, it's not bias. It's actual. Why would I be biased for? There's no bias to it. Isiah is the guy that beat Michael Jordan, right? That's the guy that consistently beat Michael Jordan. But have you seen what Isiah Thomas has done to the NBA? What he did to Magic Johnson? What he did to Larry Bird? He's the only player in history to say he got more wins over Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan. Nobody can say that. But that guy. And you gonna tell me he ain't the best? You better learn about Isiah Thomas, sir. That's your fault. You didn't know about him. And they just talked about this. Jason Kidd, everybody. The most inductions in the Hall of Fame is by Isiah Thomas. He's inducted more players into the Hall of Fame. You know why? Because he's the guy the players go to. Michael Jordan don't teach the game to nobody. Because he can't. He had God-given talent and abilities. He had big, large hands. He could palm the ball and do all these things here. He can give you tips. He can't give you the drive. Kobe had the drive. So it was very easy to dump your knowledge into Kobe because he already had the killer instinct. He was already watching tapes and doing the moves. So any tip you give Kobe, he was like a sponge. He was going to soak it up and use it. And he didn't just go to Mike. He went to everybody. But he wanted to get his foundation right. Michael Jordan was great at working on his foundation. And that's what made him one of the top, most essential players in the game, is when he worked on his foundation. And he spent a whole summer perfecting his game. So there was nothing he couldn't do on the court. There's no place you could put him he was uncomfortable. That's how the 96 season went. That's why the game became very easy for him. And he looked very easy for him to get the numbers he used to struggle to get, or not struggle, but physically have to go through everything to get the same numbers. But now playing smarter, he was able to get the same numbers. And it was a lot easier. He started to figure the game out. Like, wow, I don't have to jump out of the gym to do that. I can just easily set this up. This is like really easy. Oh, I can do this. I don't even have to exert that much energy. I can score 8 a quarter, 8 and 8. I'm averaging 32. It's easy. Jordan had the game broke down to a science by that time, but he had to evolve to that. And that was after the Isiah era. But your disrespect of Isiah Thomas, Skap, is what got my attention. You could disagree with his list, but make a good reason as to why they shouldn't be there. Like, I agree. I got Shaq 95th of all time on my list. He's number 95. It's Shaquille O'Neal. He is not on that list, on that pedestal, the way everybody else is putting him up there. Yes, Joe Dumars. I did speak on Joe. You can't talk about the Detroit Pistons and not mention Joe Dumars. This is the guy that had to guard Reggie Miller, Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan. He's those guys who had to guard the best two guards in the world. Byron Scott. He had to switch off of them. Ron Harper, all these athletic guards coming in. And this is the guard era. And Joe was putting up 22, 24 points, and he did everything quietly. But yet he's not mentioned and disrespected royally, because he's not even mentioned in NBA top 75 players, which is insulting. It really is. They named the award the Joe Dumars Award. Man never got a technical foul ever in his long career. Well, you got to understand, I don't know exactly what number Reggie Miller is, but he's on the list. If I knew nothing about basketball, Mr. 1812, I wouldn't be saying the things I'm saying. Do you understand? Is what I'm saying makes it more proof that I damn sure know about basketball. I know about this game. I know about that rock. I know about all of it. See, all you guys know is what they feed you through documentaries and highlights and clips on YouTube. You didn't watch the games. You don't know. So I understand your ignorance. Like if somebody say they in their 20s and they got LeBron as number one or KD, like my little niece, she thinks, Kevin Durant is the best player to ever play the game and Kyrie Irving. And I'm just like, that's my DNA there. That's my DNA. Because she played ball and I was like, that's my DNA right there. Because she know that's the type of player, she don't even look at LeBron James. She don't think about LeBron. And I was like so proud. She doesn't know how I feel about LeBron. So we had not had one conversation about NBA, and that's from her pick. Because she knows real basketball players. I would have told her, well, don't forget to put Kawhi Leonard in that list. Why are you doing it? But Kyrie Irving and KD is who she, follow. Like she watched them. But yeah, if some young person say, hey, I got LeBron James, I'm not going to get mad at him. You're supposed to have LeBron James up there in your 20s because that's all you saw. That's all you saw. But he wasn't even the best in his era. Steph Curry did his career in short time. Did LeBron's entire career in less time. But let's go through Michael Jordan, though, really. Let's go with this. Because everybody's in love with the Bulls because the way they were marketed by NBC. And they made them like rock stars. and they carried this team. This team was inferior. They won because they split the league up. They had 4 teams come in the league in less than 5 years with the expansion draft. So now all the teams are split up. Their players are split up. And each team got probably 2 of their nucleus players. And then everybody else is scattered. The Bulls were like one of the only teams that was still their same nucleus. The Lakers, Michael Jordan, let's talk about it. Michael Jordan never beat the Boston Celtics. He never beat Bird and McHale and Parrish. He never beat that team. Michael Jordan, when he went and scored them 60-something points, 63 in the Garden, they lost. They got swept. They lost that game, and they got swept. He didn't beat Larry. He never beat Magic and Kareem. He beat Magic at the end of his rope. Magic got the virus. He didn't beat the real team. He didn't beat them. Kareem retired. We retired Kareem. Showtime was over when we beat them. We stamped out Showtime. They carried Magic and them over there with the new pieces they had. They were already old and done. Worthy, Magic, Byron Scott was hurt. They were all done by that time. They were through. Showtime was over and we destroyed it. They just fed Magic to Michael for the promotion, the marketing. Michael versus Magic, Magic versus Michael, and all this. It was marketing. That's all it was. Then the next year was Clyde Drexler. Drexler versus Jordan. Who's the real best player in the league? Portland didn't know how to win. Period. Why don't Michael Jordan tell you he used to live with Isiah Thomas's family? Why he doesn't tell you that? When he came to Chicago, he got drafted here. He didn't know anybody. There was no 85 freeze-out game. And Michael, after all these years of saying, nope, it never happened, never happened, never happened. Now he's like, yeah, well, they freeze me out. That was Isiah who did that. He went to Playboy magazine, not a sports magazine. He went to Playboy magazine, did an interview, and he actually gonna throw Isiah's name in it. Why do you got Isiah Thomas's name in your mouth? And you're mentioning the 85 All-Star game and said they froze me out. And Isiah did that because he felt I disrespected him and all of this because I didn't acknowledge him when I came in there. It was ridiculous. And it's nothing but lies. And then he'll come out in front of the sports press and say, oh, no, I don't think that ever happened. Because it never happened. But yet, you went and gave an interview to Playboy magazine. Go look that up, Skap Attack, where he says all of these things about Isiah. Now, why would he give that interview to Playboy and not NBC or CBS or any other news outlet, sports news outlet that interviews him every damn day? Why would he give that to Playboy magazine? Because he was lying. There was no 85 freeze-out game. The media was writing that and said, oh, they didn't want to give Michael Jordan the ball. They were jealous of him because he took over the city. The media created that lie and ran with it. Because Michael Jordan only had like 9 points or whatever, so he took 9 shots. He only took 9 shots in All-Star. It's like a rookie taking 9 shots. That's not even heard of at that time. And he took 9 shots. Isiah got hurt, and at halftime, He barely even played in the second half. So how was he freezing out Michael Jordan? See, because of YouTube now, people can actually go and watch the game. And you'll see there's no freeze out. All you saw was George Gervin and Magic Johnson in the West decide that we're not going to let Michael Jordan dunk. So when he came to the lane, oh, they fouled him. They were not letting Michael Jordan embarrass them and dunk. Magic was the one jealous of Michael Jordan coming in there with gold chains. He was offended. He's coming around in minks, but he was like, he's won something. He's a champion. This guy's a rookie. He's coming in here with gold chains, ain't talking to people, thinking he better than everybody. So Magic Johnson is trying to rev everybody up. That's what everybody don't know. And they just want to make a plan to shut him down. Magic in the West. Mike is on the East. So they was like, we're not going to give Michael anything. We're not going to give that young kid anything. We're going to play him tough. Anytime he get the ball. That was Magic. And he got George Gervin to bite because they kept asking George Gervin, they were like, what do you think about Michael Jordan? He was like, you need to ask him what he think about me. And they spun that to a whole beef. But it was just a respect thing. You know, like, y'all are disrespecting us. Talking about honor him, he's a damn rookie. What you mean? So, there's a lot about this game you need to go back to learn, Skap. Because there's a lot of gaps in your story. Right. You don't beat a team like the Bulls with just knocking them down and being physical. Physical is just a part of it. We were more mentally cerebral than anything. We knew how to break your strongest player, from Larry Bird to Magic Johnson to Michael Jordan. We broke them mentally. Michael Jordan, we broke by him not trusting the rest of his teammates. The Bulls fans, y'all so stupid and blinded by The Last Dance. Y'all booed Jerry Krause when they put his name up there in front of his wife and made her cry at the game. It was so humiliating. This is why she didn't want to come. The disrespect y'all showed for the man that put the team together to help y'all win, despite of Michael Jordan's request. If y'all had it y'all way, y'all have broke knees Charles Oakley on the team with Michael Jordan, wondering why they losing and they're 500 every year. He wanted Rod Higgins, he got Rod Higgins. You'd have Rod Higgins on Golden State, hanging out with Mike all night, partying, him scoring 5 points. Horace Grant would have been gone. It'd have been a mess. The team would have been an absolute mess. Hit the like button, good people. And do not forget to join my Patreon, which is Carcino for Life. Now, Michael Jordan learned the game. He had to figure it out. He had to grow. So it's not that, I know the documentary's got you believing that they went and lift weights because they were getting beat up. So they went and lift weights and they got stronger so they could stand up to the Pistons. Now they're the bullies and we fought them back. It's okay. It's very Karate Kid-ish. Okay, but if you want to get out of fantasy land, okay, get into reality, that's cute for the documentary, that's cute for television. But when you run outside and you start talking and you say this garbage to people that actually know what happened, they're going to look at you like you're crazy and you're stupid. And this is why people like that, or like myself, don't take many people like that serious when they try to talk this game. Now, man, Corey, you should have been here yesterday, man. It was up. Jordan could have won without Jerry Krause. Nope. No, he wouldn't have. If Jordan could have won without Jerry Krause, How? Based off what? And he said Krause couldn't win without Jordan. Neither one would have won. They would have just completely lost. But Jerry Krause could build a team. Why? Because he's a general manager. He scouts teams. He scouts colleges. He looks at players and who they're coming in the league. That was his gift. He the one got John Paxson when nobody wanted to get John Paxson. Jim Paxson. He was taller than John. He played with the Boston Celtics. He was a three-point shooter. He was long. Jim Paxson was the one that was the star of the family. John was like the little runt who played. He was rugged, and that's why Jerry Krause liked him, because Paxson was rugged. They needed a ball handler, and Sam Vincent just wasn't going to get it done. He wasn't a seasoned ball handler. He was more of a two-guard handling the ball, and Jordan would be forced to play the point. So John took on that responsibility. Now, this is what I mean by you guys don't understand what was going on the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan wanted players on that team, and Krause would not go get them. He wanted Horace Grant out of there because they had a falling out. And they benched Horace, ended up bringing in Stacey King to start in a season. All you got to do is go Google the games and see which games Stacey King was starting. And then you'll see, like, wow, I didn't even know they had a problem. You heard about it if you lost all the Last Dance. I saw it and remember it live. No, eventually the Bulls is going to win because the Pistons were getting older and the players were moved on, and that was it. Like when we won the first championship, they had an expansion draft. They came in with the two different teams, and as soon as they come in the expansion draft, they take two of our players one of our players, our star player, Rick Mahorn, and they split up the bad boys. Mahorn and Lambeer. The NBA wanted to split them up, and they knew we weren't going to get rid of Sally and split up Sally and Rodman. We got to keep that dynamic, but it was either Sally or Rick Mahorn. Now, what did the Chicago Bulls lose? They lost nothing. They lost a player that don't even matter. They didn't break up the nucleus of the Chicago Bulls. They kept their same five that they had. So the Bulls' whole championship run, they had their whole starting five that had been with them for the last 5-6 years. Everybody else in the league had to spare parts from other teams and trying to get them to jail. So who did the Bulls really have to face or beat, and what obstacle? They put Charles Barkley in Phoenix. That was his first year in Phoenix. And they went to the NBA Finals, barely, but the team did not know how to close games. They almost lost to the Lakers without Magic Johnson in the first round of the playoffs. It was a 5-game series. They were down 0-2 to the Lakers, losing both games at the crib. John Sally is somebody that averaged 20-something points in college, sir. John Sally could score the basketball if he wanted to. But when you come to the NBA, you have a role. And on the Pistons, his role was a defender. He was a great shot blocker. He was long in length, and he made problems for Michael Jordan when he came over for the help. So Michael would have to swing and trust the system and move the ball around. So anytime Skap Attack wants me to school him on this game, I have no problem in doing so. I have no problem in relaying my knowledge in this game because I told you I know every single thing that happened. Jerry Krause built this team. Michael Jordan couldn't be. Look what he did to Charlotte. He knows talent, huh? How many draft picks did Michael Jordan waste in Charlotte? Isiah drafted, Ed O'Bannon won the national championship for UCLA. Everybody thought Isiah was going to draft Ed O'Bannon when he was president and part owner of the Toronto Raptors. He drafted Damon Stoudemire, and they booed. And then D-Stott was what? D-Stott was what? D-Stott was what? Rookie of the year and one of the most dynamic guards there is, because he had a move the NBA had to even learn about, was the drop step. So Isiah, who drafted Tracy McGrady out of high school, T-Mac, he had T-Mac on there. He had Marcus Camby on the team. He had Carlos Rogers on the team. I used to beat the 96 Bulls in NBA Live. Anybody remember EA Sports, EA NBA Live? I would pick the Raptors and destroy you. I can't be blocking your shot, dunking. You couldn't do anything. Carlos Rogers, then Damon Stoudemire, we were destroying y'all. Yes, he drafted Damon Stoudemire, Isiah Thomas III. And don't forget, this man was one of the smartest individuals there is. He's the first NBA player to be on Forbes magazine. He was the first person. See, and he can do his own interviews and conduct them because he was intelligent. He's the one that came up with the Jordan rules. Isiah did. He the one got with the coaches and told him in the middle of the playoffs. They devised this scheme on Michael Jordan after he hit the game-winning shot in Chicago. So after game 3, they devised a whole plan to come out with a whole different attack for game 4. A lot of more aggressive double teams. Getting the ball out of his hands was the key. And anybody else is going to have to beat us. But that guy won't beat us. That's the name of the Jordan rules. Anybody but you. So the only way to beat the Jordan rules was for Michael Jordan to use his team, swing the ball, trust his teammates. He was a guy who often fought with his coaches for not trusting his teammates, because Doug Collins didn't care about trusting the teammates. He didn't believe in Scottie Pippen. He was too mentally weak. He was just going to be a guy coming off the bench. Oh, I know what Isiah's doing. He knows that bothers Mike. That really bothers Mike because he knows Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan used to live with Isiah. This is why I don't like Michael Jordan, because he's a liar and he doesn't have to be. He's a puppet. He's not a real man. He's a puppet. David Falk is the reason, Skap Attack, and you should do a report on that. This is what you should report on, Skap. And I like your videos. Don't get me wrong. You're actually informative a lot. You just leave out key details when you're trying to push a biased narrative. Here's the thing. When Michael Jordan came in the league, he was living with Isiah Thomas's nephew. They had a condo together. And that's how Michael Jordan really was getting around, with Isiah Thomas's nephew. They lived together. He would tell Mike where to go, how to get moved through the city, everything. He didn't know Chicago. So he lived with him for years. Michael Jordan's sister and Isiah Thomas's sister and Michael Jordan's brother Larry were best friends. They didn't date, but they just hung out and they went everywhere. So Michael Jordan's family and Isiah Thomas's family were always united, and they always had respect for each other, and there was no hate. So it wasn't, oh, he got mad because Jordan took the city from him. That was just a lie that this media created because the Pistons were winning and the Bulls were losing. And they had Michael Jordan now, and they just fell in love with Jordan. And now it's like, oh, you're jealous. Why would he be jealous? He's beating Michael Jordan. Why would he be jealous of Michael Jordan? He's the one of winning championships and going to the finals. He's not worried about Michael Jordan. So it's like the craziest thing ever. This Chicago media created the narrative. He's just jealous because it's Mike's city and we don't like Isiah. You don't like him because he's beating you. That's why you don't like him. He never did nothing to Michael Jordan. And Mike and Isiah got along flawless. They didn't hang out because they both were in two different lanes. Like, he's in Detroit, but when they saw each other, it was an all-star game, everything. Got along with everybody. They vote him president of the Players Union. And David Falk, who you saw from the movie Air, that is exactly how he is. He's an eccentric human being. So being an eccentric human being, we had to endure all of the things that was going on with him. Like, we had to endure all of the nonsense and put up with it because everybody around was coming up with narratives to try to take away from the ideas that was out there about Isiah. David Falk, who's just completely insane and crazy, and you saw it if you watched the movie Air. He's just like that. He's very arrogant, very much narcissistic, and he tried to take over the Dream Team from the NBA. The NBA didn't like David Falk. He tried to become the commissioner of the NBA. Look, y'all don't even understand how crazy this was. David Stern hated that man, but he had Michael Jordan. And he used Michael Jordan and held him hostage to get what he wanted. Here's the problem with Jordan and Isiah. In Skap Attack, I want you to listen because this is the absolute truth. And you can go look it up for yourself. Do your research and you will find your answer if you really want to find an answer, instead of going with what a documentary is telling you, painting a BS narrative. This is the reason why. Isiah Thomas was in charge of the Players Union, and he put up a proposal for the collective bargaining agreement and came up with a proposal that the agents were getting too much of the players' money, which was 10%. Isiah put a motion in and said the agents should not get paid more than 4%. So they went from 10% down to 4%. It was voted on and approved, and all the agents were pissed. And definitely David Falk, you have just crossed his crosshairs. You crossed out how much money he's going to make off Michael Jordan by 6%. It was just that he had the audacity to do that as a basketball player. He was pissed. And this is around 87, 88. So he wanted Isiah removed from Players Union. He was like, that he should not be the president of the Players Union. We're going to appeal this. This is wrong for all the agents that work hard and we do all this. And now we're losing all this money. Now, who's his number one client? Michael Jordan. So he's saying Isiah is ruining our relationship. Isiah is the reason we can't do this deal. Michael Jordan, he loved the fact he didn't have to pay David Falk more money. But David Falk had all the control. So he got to do whatever he says. That's how Space Jam happened. That was David Falk's movie. David Falk had it and said, hey, I got you a deal. No, he had himself a deal, and he leveraged Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's movie, Space Jam. Executively produced by who? His agent, David Falk. It's like, wait a minute. And he used Michael Jordan to get Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. He got all of these clients under his umbrella. So when the Dream Team came along, he hates Isiah. He held Michael Jordan hostage and told Michael Jordan to say he don't want to play if Isiah Thomas is not on the team. He don't want to play with Isiah Thomas. If Isiah's on the team, I don't want to play if Isiah's on the team. David Falk was using Michael Jordan as leverage to keep Isiah Thomas off the Dream Team, because he's still mad about the fact that Isiah Thomas is cut all of their percentages down to 4%. He is pissed. And as long as Isiah is president of that players union, the players was voting him in every year, then the numbers were staying there. He tried to get the players, because he was representing all of these players like Pat, Charles Barkley, and trying to get them to all overthrow Isiah to get him out of the way. He was trying to stage a whole coup. So Isiah contacted the NBA, and they saw what was happening, and they blocked David Stern from doing it. I mean, not David Stern, but David Falk, from his trying to take over the whole NBA union. Y'all, trust me, this is so much stuff y'all don't know that's been going on. Dude, go to sleep. I'm mad about Space Jam. Jesus Christ. Go to sleep. So now you know the scope of what's going on. Go and do your research, and you will find out that's the main reason what was happening behind the scenes. And people don't really understand that that was the determining factor. That's why his nickname is the Invisible Hand. That was meant to be an insult to him. He loved it. That's me, the Invisible Hand. He was the Invisible Hand for a reason. David Falk was not a nice guy. He was a tyrant who just wanted to take, and he'll use Michael Jordan as his bait piece. If you don't do it, Michael Jordan's not coming. So Isiah couldn't show up there. And then it was a big thing because Reebok was in charge of the entire Olympics, not Nike. So now we have another problem. We get there, now he's like, well, my guys are not going to play if we're not going to pose for any photos, and Reebok is going to be selling these shirts. No, we can't have the Reebok logo with our athletes on that shirt. So we're going to make our own Olympic shirt with just the guys I got. We got Jordan, we got Patrick Ewing, all my guys. We're gonna do our own Olympic shirt. Now you're not gonna have a shirt without us on there. We're gonna have to get paid. So they had to negotiate to do that whole ring shirt with Magic, Michael, all of them in the Olympic rings. They were threatening to have them out of the picture. He was going to take one and just make a shirt with all his clients. And just like, I'm going to take one with Barkley, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing. Which shirt you think they're going to buy? The one where you got Bird and don't have Jordan in there with Bird and Magic? David Falk, the Invisible Hand, was just a tyrant. And he did this during the entire Dream Team. He was a nightmare to deal with. He wanted a piece of everything. Remember when they had to go out and get their medals, and they had to wear those jackets? Those were Reebok jackets. So they had to cover up the Reebok logo, because that was a big argument in the back. Michael Jordan's not wearing that. He's not going out in that. He can't. If he goes out there, he can kiss that Nike deal goodbye. He's gonna have a fine that's so great if he step out of there in that outfit. So they was like, well, they gotta wear the tracksuits. Uh, well, what are they gonna do? We gotta find a way to cover it up. Anybody got any tape? So they said, no, we can't use any tape to cover up the Reebok logo. So some of them they gave Michael Jordan the flowers. So Michael Jordan took the flowers and he held the flowers over the logo, these roses. He held the roses over the logo, so could nobody see it on television. Then they went and put a towel over the arm so that you could see it. So you couldn't see it, rather. Now, as this continued, Isiah is not in the players union no more. So this Isiah comes out of the player union. Buck Williams becomes the president of the players union. The players, the agents' percentage goes back up to 10%. Isiah's out of the league, and now that the agents are back getting 10% and everything, Isiah ends up eventually becoming in the future president of the New York Knicks. And anybody that David Falk had, that he represented, Isiah got rid of him ASAP. And who's your agent? David Falk? You're out of here. He's not. And David Falk knew it. He was like, oh, David Falk went and complained. All my clients are being unfairly treated. He's getting rid of all of our clients because he's jealous of Michael Jordan. He's still got this beef with Michael Jordan. It had nothing to do with Michael Jordan. It had something to do with your ass. And you know it. He didn't want to deal with you. He don't want to sit down and negotiate with you, with players. He's not dealing with David Falk. You're out of here. The same way they was getting rid of all them clutch sports people out of the Knicks. Same thing. David Falk, you out of here. And then David Stern eventually got him out. Like he said, I'm going to retire. When Michael Jordan's through, I'm through. And basically that was it. Falk was gone. He retired. Didn't represent no agents anymore, and they got him out of the NBA. David Stern didn't want to do nothing to do. He couldn't stand the guy. Other agents couldn't stand him. But he was Michael Jordan's little, that's the guy who used to talk for Michael. Michael don't talk about these subjects. You don't see Michael going in the communities, doing any help in the communities or nothing. He never did it. Never see him. If he do anything, he's in a suburban area doing some little charity thing for suburbia. Only recently that he's like, oh, I'm gonna start doing something for the single wealth mothers. Mike, he failed the city so much, for the city that kissed his ass so much and put all that money in his pockets. He failed him. And this is what Craig Hodges was talking about. So now you know the truth. Now you guys know the truth. 100%. Michael Jordan went out there and lied on Isiah Thomas, knowing it's a lie. Said he didn't keep him off the dream team. We know that's a lie. He actually went and said it, and it's on tape. He didn't even know it was recorded. But he said it. Rod Thorne is a lie. All of these people lied. And they went on national TV. They went on The Last Dance and lied, saying Isiah's name never came up. It's another lie. And this is why they can't live it down. It's the food that keeps coming up since 1992. If it didn't matter and it didn't mean anything, they would have let it go by now. Isiah don't mention it. Y'all mention it. They mention it. And then they end up asking him about it. And then he got to talk about it. Other than that, Isiah don't bring it up at all. They're the ones hung up on it. But if you ask him, should he been on the team? Of course. He met all the criteria. In fact, he was the best player in the world. He the one got Magic Johnson on the Olympics. Magic Johnson had HIV. They weren't going to let him play. Isiah got him in the NBA All-Star game, got the doctor to show them all the medical things saying that players could play and the chances of them catching HIV is slim to none. Like it's like almost a 0% chance of him catching HIV on the court. And definitely in an all-star game. And you can't get it from sweating on somebody. It's like guys are sweating, they're touching each other, man. And it was players that didn't feel comfortable with Magic returning back to basketball after the Dream Team. After they was like, dude, I just played with you guys in the Dream Team. You guys they was like, yeah, that's just a couple of games. I don't really want to play, a series with you or playing a season with you. And everybody was so uncomfortable when Magic said he was going to come back. They didn't even want to touch him. Magic got a cut on his hand and on his finger, and everybody freaked out. The doctor was like, you got to put the Band-Aid on first the trainer, before I could even come around you. He was terrified. So, it was just a different time. So he retired right before the season started. Because players had their reservations about playing with him. Kevin McHale was one. I mean, him trying to say it without saying it, they was like, so you got a problem with playing with him? Hey, I didn't say that. I just said it's a lot of scrapes, it's a lot of cuts, it's a lot of blood out there. It's a lot of things going on when people got to think about. So what you saying, you got a problem playing with Magic Johnson? I didn't say that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but see, they singled out Karl Malone and Charles Barkley. They singled those two out, and then didn't focus on Kevin McHale. I gotta find that interview too. That's hilarious. I remember that because it's YouTube. They gotta have it on there. Kevin McHale talking about Magic Johnson coming back to play basketball. Oh, they probably ain't gonna have that. I'm gonna have to search for that one. Kevin McHale. They said Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale. Come on, thing. Hold on. Kevin McHale, there's a lot of blood out there. Gosh, still can't find it. I gotta look it up myself. I'm gonna look it up and find it. It's just gotta dig it up. I mean, a point guard putting up 40 and 10, averaging 13, almost 14 assists a game, highest total assist average.
Guys, you know me.
Oh, absolutely. So, anyway, I've held you guys far too long. Man, I love that you guys did this. Definitely go to my Patreon and we'll show you Michael Jordan's secret son that y'all don't even know about. I found him. So go to the Patreon. It's there for you. Check it out. We got a lot of other stuff on there, and we got a lot more coming. So, shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life. Welcome to HDII TV. Scalp Attack. Like I said, I liked your videos, just that you're missing a lot of key details. If you want to cam up, we'll do a StreamYard. I definitely come up there and educate you. I'm out.